I think they did the right thing in getting back the bodies. These negotiations have been going on for many, many years. There have been many false starts, false hopes, manipulation of it by the Hezbollah. At the same time, we have to look at the other arguments that have been put forward, including by former generals and by others who went to visit the families and said to them, we do not believe that a deal is a good idea, even though and believing that the boys were dead. Were they alive? I think everybody would have agreed you do everything possible. It's important for your audience, though, to know what the upsides and downsides that have to be weighed by the government in making this decision. That it's not just a simple thing to say, we release these 4 guys, we release the bodies of these other infiltrators, murderers, terrorists, and others that were held by Israel. That every issue is complex, and you have to look at all of the potential implications for the future of that decision.
What's the worst implication?
That you raise the ante, that somebody with blood on his hands like Kuntar can be gotten. It encourages further kidnappings because we know that there are reports just in recent days of that they want to kidnap Israeli civilians in the Sinai. There have been repeated warnings about that. Attempts to build tunnels from Gaza to do the same thing, to try and kidnap as they did Shalit. And there were other attempts even in the north. God willing, they will all fail, but not because for want of trying, and because they've seen that this is a way to force Israel to do things it otherwise would not do, because it is a humanitarian government, because it's somebody who cares about its citizens. These terrorists don't care how many of their people die. They're willing to kill and to fight to the last of everybody else's children, not their own. Hezbollah can claim and will have victory celebrations while Israel holds funerals. You will see celebrations in the West Bank also, and in Gaza probably, about the release of Kuntar and the terrorists who come back. And they get him back without having made significant concessions. Mm-hmm. Nothing towards peace, nothing towards changing, not their activities or their goals, the acceptance of Israel, nothing in terms of their continuing preparations for attacks and terrorism, both within Lebanon and against Israel and against their own citizens, the other citizens of Lebanon. And the fact that they would kidnap these young men and murder them brutally reminds Israelis about the kind of neighbors that they and elements in the countries around them, their brutality, their inhumane ideology and philosophies, and what motivates them. So it doesn't help, that for the people of Israel to see it. On the other hand, I think that they once again prove that they don't sink to the level of their neighbors, but rise above them, and and give a message to the world again about the sanctity of life, the sanctity of the bodies of those who we care about. And I think on balance, the people of Israel will go through a difficult time for a day or a couple days in the families, and then life will go on and they will adjust. Israel has made incredible sacrifices in the past, released astounding numbers of prisoners in order to achieve the release of their own captives and bodies of soldiers in the past. And we will overcome, and ultimately Israel's standing will be appreciated, I hope. And the difference between us and the terrorists become clearer and clearer.